All right. Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, May 13th at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Thank you all for joining me. This is group Q&A. My name is Jill Johns. I'm one of the corporate trainers with Cornerstone. It's nice to see you all here. We have a decent sized group of folks. So this training is a little bit different than some of the others that we train. A lot of times I know we ask you guys to keep yourselves muted just to avoid interruptions and disruptions in the training. This one is different because it's a Q&A. We actually ask, you can actually go ahead and unmic because this is kind of your time to ask questions, things that have been, on your mind that you want answered. So again, my name is Jill Johns. A little bit about me. I've been a corporate trainer for almost a year now for Cornerstone, I think. I just recently started doing the group Q&As and I'll admit, I'm always the first to admit I don't know it all, trust me. But if I don't know, I'll either give you direction or see if I can't get an answer for you. I've been a travel advisor for I'm just about to start my ninth year as a TA, so that's exciting for me. My niche happens to be cruising, so that's kind of where the bulk of my business has been is with cruising, primarily Princess, in fact. Um, but feel free to ask your questions, and I will do my absolute best to get you some answers. So if you're not comfortable with using the with unmiking and asking your question, it is absolutely okay to list your question in the chat, of which somebody has done. So let me go ahead and start with that one. Bridget is asking, has anyone had any experience cruising from the Port of Los Angeles? I have a cruise in August and just wondering if it's better to stay near the airport or cruise port. It depends on how you want to get there, Bridget. In my opinion, because the port is actually, I believe, in Long Beach, and so it's and it's been a little while since I cruised out of LA. I typically do fly into Los Angeles just because I found that I'm up in the Sacramento area, so it's a short flight for me. It's only about an hour and 10 minutes for me to get to LAX. And I just found for some reason flying into the Long Beach airport instead of LA tends to be more expensive. Airports, go figure. So it depends on how you want to get there. If you're going to take the cruise line shuttle, then it makes more sense to stay near the airport because then you're just going to jump back to the airport that you came in on and go to the luggage claim section and look for the people with the vests and the clipboards and check in with them and jump on their bus over to the port. If you're just going to make your own way over to the port, then you could just go ahead and do it, find a way to transfer down towards the port area and find a hotel there. So I hope that helps, Bridget.
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Who else has questions for me?
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, let's say I haven't booked anybody but me and my husband on a cruise, and cruising is going to be my niche. Let's say you have a potential client reach out to you. They want to go on a cruise. They're open to any line. They have like maybe a couple of months that, like let's say November, December, that they're willing to go. At that point, since they're open to any cruise line, where would you start at?
Well, and I'm assuming you have an itinerary or they have a destination in mind.
No, I'm saying that they're just coming in completely open to everything. Destination, cruise line.
Ooh, that makes it tough because especially when they're really open like that, you could spend a lot of time trying to narrow it down. But you don't want to spend too much time, in my opinion, looking at every single cruise line and every single cruise that, and destination that they offer during that time period. So my recommendation would be to kind of take a quick glance and see what types of itineraries, what destinations are available during that time frame, and then go back to them and ask them to narrow it down. Have them pick a destination, and then ask the questions about the cruise lines too. It's like, what types of activities do they want to do when they're on board? Do they care if there's more kids on board? Because obviously cruise lines like Royal Caribbean and Carnival are going to have more kids on board. If they prefer fewer kids, then and more laid back type of stuff. So the questions are really good. That's part of the qualifying process, is to ask those types of questions, because the more time you spend on on, it's like if you give them quotes on an Alaska cruise and a Mexican Riviera cruise and a California coastal cruise, now you've spent your time going through multiple cruise lines for this one and multiple cruise lines for this one and multiple cruise lines for this one. And your time is valuable. And that's the bottom line, is your time is valuable. And so asking those qualifying questions is so important to narrow down that field before you spend time getting quotes, because otherwise you're going and going and going, and the commission's only going to be so big. It's like the commission doesn't, yeah, and that's the thing you want to consider, is the commission's not going to grow because you spend 50 hours looking to trying to get them to pick a cruise and a destination versus 2 hours. So if you ask the questions up front, that it's helpful to narrow that down before you start doing cruises.
So let's say
did I answer that in a big roundabout way?
Well, let's say that they do narrow it down to, say, a Caribbean cruise. Then would you just go into each individual line and kind of price out, kind of get them narrowed down to like Eastern, Western, Southern?
Yeah, for the Caribbean, definitely kind of look at if they have a particular island in mind, if it's the Caribbean that they kind of want to go with, that's the way I would do it, as well as try to see if there's a particular island that they've always hoped to get to. And again, try to narrow down the cruise lines. Do they want a lot of activities like the water slides and that sort of thing? Or do they want more low key like Princess or Holland America, where it's more of a slightly older crowd and a little bit more laid back without all the climbing walls and all that fun stuff. And at that point, honestly, if you've got access to Cruise Complete through Travel Leaders Network, you can actually search by the destinations and it will give you results for multiple cruise lines. So that may be a good way to go for that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I've got a couple questions in chat. Let me take a peek real quick. Susan said I have a group booking question for hotels. Okay, Susan, what question do you have?
So I was contacted today by my son's cross country team. They are going to need anywhere from 8 to 12 rooms in a hotel in California. We're Texas based. I know that there will be we have a sales tax exemption, but I don't know if that works in another state. And also, is that something I just do online, or is it more appropriate to call and speak with a representative at that property and ask for a block of rooms? Since it's kind of an unusual situation, we're going to have 4 minors in each room, kind of a thing.
Yes, I would say because you want a block of rooms, you would want to contact the hotel directly, let them know you're a travel advisor and you want to make sure that the bookings go through your host agency, because you want to make sure that information gets connected for the commission, and then see if you can get a room block or even group pricing, depending on how many rooms you want. And they should be able to work with you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And I tell them I'm with Cornerstone and give them the SWAT. Is that right? If I'm remembering my intro training. Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see. Patricia says we've stayed at Hilton. Okay, so this was a response, it looks like, to Bridget. Patricia says we've stayed at Hilton in Long Beach, who keeps our vehicle while on the cruise and takes us back and forth from the hotel to the port. There's also the Queen Mary Hotel right next to the Carnival Port, and you can just walk to the ship. So there's another response for you, Bridget. And then Amanda, you have a group question as well?
Yep. So I'm working with a friend I haven't talked to in a long time, but she wants to take her family on a Christmas vacation. And of course, she just is like, I want to go somewhere warm or whatever. So I'm starting to narrow down stuff back and forth, email and get more stuff. But so I went to kind of go look on Vax, and I started putting it in so I could start researching it. And then it told me like my group was too big or whatever. So I guess I've never done anything like this. So then I went on the group thing and I don't understand any of it.
So Vax, I believe, has a limit to how many rooms you can book through their portal. I think if you want to do a group that's bigger than that, you need to reach out to them, either to them. Cindy, I see you're on here. Can I pick your brain on this? You might know the answer to this. On VAX for a larger than a particular size of group, do they need to contact VAX directly or the BDM? Do you know?
I think training I sat through, you contacted them.
That's what I was thinking too. All right. Thank you for confirming. And in case anyone's wondering, I was picking Cindy's brain because she's another one of our trainers.
Okay, and that's what it did say, like submit a request form or whatever. So I just wanted to make sure before I go and do all this stuff because I was like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if they have the link to the request form, go ahead and do that. If they don't and you're not sure where to get it, just give them a call and ask them.
Okay. And then my other question too was, now I think she's kind of looking for a VROB, and I haven't really seen anything on, do we just go on VROB? I didn't see anything for like registering with it or anything. So that I'm curious about too.
Expedia Tap.
Expedia Tap. Okay. I'm going to do the training on that
Yeah.
one after this. So, okay. Expedia Tap for
Yes.
any type of VROB thing, we go on there for that?
Yeah, Expedia Tap actually, VRBO is actually a part of the Expedia group now. So I believe that Expedia may have purchased VRBO. And so you just filter when you're searching, you can go over to the left-hand side to the filter section and find, oh, I just did this earlier today. You'll see it though. It talks about houses. And then you'll see, buy VRBO. And so that will help filter it down to those.
Okay. Okay. And then I guess too, like when people get a hold of you like this and they want to know, like, they just don't give you much information. Like, I guess my kind of response to it was I went into Chat GPT and I just did this a generic thing with 3 different options, just trying to start to get her to figure out where she wanted to go. Is that the best way to handle something like that? When people are like, I just want to go somewhere warm and I want to take my family and I don't know, tell me. And it's like, well, I've been to Mexico. That's like it.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. I think more and more people are turning to Chat GPT. Just make sure if you use Chat GPT, because it's an AI program, that you verify information on the internet. Try to find legitimate web sources that can confirm that that's a good spot. And if you're looking for hotels or resorts or anything like that, it's always good to. It's like if you can look up resorts and stuff in Expedia or Vax or any of the other places that you're looking, but it's still good to go out to another source like TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is huge for reviews, as you know. So it's not a bad thing to hop over there, see what people are saying about that particular property. Look on Google. You can even Google map it and then go to the satellite view, especially if it's like a beach resort, and you can satellite view and kind of scope around based on the satellite view and kind of see, does it look like it's really a good beach? Does it look nice and tropical? And just to kind of see if the description matches what you're seeing on the map, type of thing. If you can get street level, that's a good thing too. But yeah, I always try to check as many sources as I can before I refer a property to somebody.
Okay. And I wasn't really referring anything either because she never really said. So I'm like, I don't know if you're looking for all inclusive or anything, but just to kind of put something together so she could start picking. So I'm not like asking these, because I've been emailing her and asking specific questions and I'm getting this quick response back. And so I'm getting a little frustrated with it because it's like, it's over 10 people and it's like, okay, I know you don't want to do this till Christmas, but like, I don't want to spend hours on this.
Well, and Christmas will book up and the prices will jack. They will absolutely will go up as Christmas gets closer because Christmas is very popular. And so it's one of those things where if you have to create a list and just say, these are the things I need to have answers to so that I can find you the best solution to get you the most accurate quote for you. So if you're not sure if she wants an all-inclusive, ask the question. Do you want to go to a resort that's all-inclusive, that especially if you're looking at the Caribbean or something,
Yeah.
do you want all-inclusive that includes the beverages, the food, the kind of the everything, or are you just looking more for a condo with a kitchen so you can run to the store, buy food and cook yourself to save money? And so that's kind of the thing too, is what's her budget? What does she want included? Does she need activities for younger people? So any questions that you can kind of think of that you might need to know for your own trip, if you need to, because she's not putting it down, put it in a list and just say, you know, we've kind of gone back and forth. Let's just do this as here's a list. These are the things I need answered so that I can proceed in getting you the best fit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Cause I feel like I'm having to just kind of do that. And I did
And
ask it.
the
Go
other
ahead.
thing too is if she's not real responsive in email, ask her if you can set up a time for a call or a Zoom call. Because sometimes people are a lot more receptive and a lot more responsive if they're on the spot. You know, it's like you've got them on the phone, you've got them face to face. Zooms are great because then they also get to see you, get to know your face, and just kind of become more comfortable with you as their travel agent, and the fact that, you know, who's asking me all these questions? Why can't she just figure this out on her own? But by doing that, you can say, you know, these are just things I don't want to make too many guesses and have them be wrong and you be disappointed in my services. I want to get you the most accurate, you know, quote, which means I need to ask questions to find that best fit for you. So that might be another option if she's still kind of unresponsive about it, is try to pin her down to a phone call.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I need to probably do then, just because I don't have her phone number and she contacted me through Facebook. So it's just been a lot of back and forth, and it's just like, I'm starting to get somewhere, but that's the other thing. Yeah.
Yes, sometimes it can be very frustrating.
And I don't want to take up time. So if anybody has a question, please interrupt me. But I do. So my
Yeah.
other question, does anybody
Yeah.
know about, like, if somebody travels to America she's got a boyfriend he's coming here for a green card. If you have a green card, can you leave the country, and is there issues coming back in with that time allotted with a green card?
Ooh.
I tried Googling it and trying to find information on it, and I just didn't. So I thought if anybody just happened to know, it would be great.
I don't know the question to that, but I would think that if they're here on a temporary green card, there's got to be restrictions as far as leaving the country, because they came here to leave where they're at.
Right.
So I don't know that they really have that free reign to go wherever they want to, even for vacation. I'm trying to think of who. Email corporate. It'll probably end up in Amy's lap, but I would say email one of the corporate email addresses and ask them that question, because Amy
Okay.
will probably. I think that Amy will ultimately know the answer to that.
Okay.
And Amanda, can you post the answer on the Facebook? Because I'm curious as well.
Yeah.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Absolutely. Yep. I will do
That is an excellent question. Like, I want to book with you.
Well, thank you, because I'm totally blind on all this. I'm just like, okay, let's start figuring stuff out. So
No, you sounds like you're getting it. Absolutely. Okay, so let's see. That was you. Susan has asked in the chat, do we need the sales tax ID in order to book? No, you should never need a tax ID in order to book. The only thing that I'm or when they're on site, what's the typical title of the person I try to reach? Oh, for the hotel.
Right. When I call, I would like to speak with this person, the one that does groups.
I would say probably the sales manager.
Okay, thank you. I'm new.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Okay, so that looks. Thank you, Jenny, for your comment. That looks like the only questions in the chat. So if anybody else has any questions, looks like Amanda's on a break from her questions unless she comes up with more. So if anybody else has any questions, do you have another one you want to throw in while we wait?
yeah, I'll keep going because I have like 3 people with this stuff. Okay, so I did ask this in the chat on Facebook, but maybe you or Cindy, if she's out there and didn't see what I did ask. I had somebody contact me about National Park, coming up to Glacier National Park. I live in Kalispell, so it's my backyard. So I was like, oh, this should be fun and easy. But I'm finding like a lot of it is they just have to self-book stuff. So I don't know if anybody knows like a place that we could go to find out
What
more.
type, what types of thing are you thinking they need to self-book?
Getting into the park. A lot of it's not transferable from what I've seen, and it's, you know, you got to get day passes and all this other stuff. And honestly, I mean, it would be so much work for me to do it. It's because of what she wants to do, and it's like no commission. I would be making nothing.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, my recommendation on something like that, especially since there are so many, is, I mean, I would just tell them I can help you with hotels and day tours if there are actual day tours, because then you could look at Viator or something like that to see if there's our day tours that could be booked there for commission. Otherwise, I would just be honest with her and let her know most of these are things you're going to have to go online yourself, unless you want to give me your credit card for every single thing you need to book.
Yeah.
And most people are going to go, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not for their entry pass and the going to the sun pass and the other pass. And yeah, no, I see what you're saying. So that I mean, that's probably how I would handle it. And just let them know that most of those, you could kind of break it down. These items are things you'd have to book on your own. But I'm happy to help you with, you know, we could look at day tours and see what's available, and I can help you with hotels. And if you need a car rental, especially if they're flying in from out of town, I've got a family that's doing that to come out here to the Redwoods. I'm in California, and I booked them a VRBO. They were looking at a hotel, and I happened to find a freestanding house that was almost the same price as the hotels in the area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was so I did their air, their car rental, their hotel, and that was pretty much it. Anything else they'll take care of on their own.
Okay. And car rental, where do we go for the car rental one? Is that Expedia Tap as well?
You can do car rentals, hotels, and flights. All three of those you can do in Tap, Vax, price agencies. I always forget if it's Vax or price agencies, and Snap, which is through Travel Leaders Network.
Okay. I saw that somebody had mentioned that. Is that one of the suppliers that we have?
Yes. So it's a little bit hidden on the supplier page, but it is there. If you go down into the hotel section, it's the very first one. It says Travel Leaders Network, and then right underneath it, it says that it's for Snap, and it'll mention that you need your agent profiler account in order to get there.
Okay. Because yeah, I screenshotted that the other day because the Snap wasn't one that I had heard of. So okay, maybe I'll look into that one then too and see.
Yeah, I can share my screen real quick. And well, I say real quick, it's my internet's been kind of hit and miss if it wants to behave. I did a one-on-one earlier today and it just kind of froze on me once I got in here. Kind of like it's doing now. It's not, there's the little spinny. I don't know what's going on. I have brand new Wi-Fi and it's just being temperamental. Okay, so suppliers. And then we go down. Okay, here we go. So hotels, resorts, and villas, the very first one, Travel Leaders Network, Snap. First, you must first complete agent profiler by clicking here, and it takes 24 to 48 hours to activate. If you've already done that, let me move my little water mug. If you've already done that, we'll see if it wants to. It's pausing. I'm sorry. So you start by going to your agent profiler. You can actually go to Agent Universe also, but I always start with, just out of habit, I go to Agent Profiler.
Okay.
And actually, there we go. And then you can go to training. And my recommendation too, if you haven't looked at Snap at all, go into the training in here in Travel Leaders Network, because Travel Leaders Network has tons. And I mean, if you think Cornerstone provides a lot of training, you should see the Travel Leaders Network. You hit that little magnifying glass right here, and you can type in pretty much anything in the search box, and they will have tons and tons of training. So here is the training for Snap. There are 3 different trainings. They have a separate video for air, a separate video for hotel, and a separate video for car booking. And they will walk you through how to book the air, how to book the car, how to book the hotel. So super good training. And then Cruise Complete, this is their cruise booking engine. This is the one I mentioned earlier, where it actually, you can put in a destination and it will pull up multiple cruise lines so that you can kind of compare, the two differences. Now, if you want to actually book in Snap, you're then going to go to Agent Universe. And again, you can also just bookmark Agent Universe directly, but it's the same logon as your agent profiler. So that's not going to change. And then once you come in here, there we go. There are recently visited on the left, and then on the right is quick links, and you can see Snap is right here and Cruise Complete is down here. So these are in the quick links, so you don't have to look for them. If you forget that, you can also type it up here. You just click on Snap. It launches again. And Snap is the one that a lot of times we'll mention for air because at the end of the booking process for the air, you do want to let your clients know if this is something you're going to do and get their approval for it. You don't want to hit them with a service charge after the fact, but the Snap booking engine for flights actually allows you towards the end of the booking to add on a per ticket service charge. And then when they pay it, it's just paid directly the same time as their ticket, and then it's basically paid out as commission. But that way you're not having to have them pay twice if you're going to do service fees. So here's, you're looking right now, we're looking at flights. Obviously, you click over to hotels and it switches to hotels. You click on cars. Now you're looking at cars. So you're just going to enter the basic information with it's optional. Obviously, that's exactly what it means. It's optional. So pickup drop off location and the date. And they do prefer the times. That's not really optional, but if you're not sure, just kind of give it a ballpark for pricing. And then you just go hit shop cars and it's going to give you the different suppliers, the different sizes of the car, and all that fun stuff. So that's Snap. But again, they've got great training. The Travel Leaders Network really does a very good job of training. I mean, they've got social media training. I know that Amy has done some social media training on the Cornerstone agent access area, but Travel Leaders Network has even more. And again, you could just go into that magnifying glass and type in social media, and you'll get a list of different types of trainings on social media. Same thing for marketing and any cruise line or some of the suppliers that are through TLN. You can get even more supplier training through Travel Leaders Network besides what we even offer. Just huge amounts of training, huge amounts.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. So who else has questions? Somebody's got to have questions. We still have a half an hour left.
For really new agents who are trying to get caught up on Wavemaker training, do we just start on what happened on January 1st and go forward that way? Or should we pick and choose which videos, which recordings to watch based off of our personal interests? What's the best way?
Start with first quarter.
First quarter. Okay.
Yes.
First quarter was busy.
Oh, they all are. Just wait. They don't even have all the information up for third and fourth quarter yet. The Travel Leaders Network training is the most, I think, intensive. There's a lot of it. If you haven't looked at Wavemakers, it's not a mandatory program. It's a voluntary, person by person basis decision as to whether or not you want to participate in Wavemakers. If you're not familiar with it, it's a 1-year-long certification program. Lots and lots of training. There's a segment in each quarter that for Travel Leaders Network training, and the first quarter I think it had 48 classes in the first quarter, and the second quarter I think was about 42. That may be backwards. So it's a lot.
Well,
not
they
every
sign out saying where the
not every training class is really long. Some of them are 20 minutes, some of them, 48. That's what I thought, Rebecca. And then training, second quarter, I think is 42. So a little bit less, but it is intensive. Once you get done, you do the Travel Leaders Network training, and then you do some of the supplier training. Not only do you do the on their website training, but there's also all of the webinars that were included. And I'm going to show you that too, because because I know that for those of you who may be going back to look at that, let me close out of a couple of these windows. Yes, I'm going to leave. Yes, I'm going to leave. I don't care about logging out. You can deal with it. Okay, skip that. Here we go. I have to remember where I'm going. Nope, I want to go here. Yes, my groups. My groups. I will go to, no, that's not where I wanted. Yeah, here we go. That'll work. Under my programs, view program, I had this open and my computer decided to reboot the other day and it did not give me my restore button option, and I about cried because I always have so many tabs open. This is not what my tabs look like. I have a couple different windows that are minimized that pretty hideous looking. So this is the WaveMaker certification program. There's over 6 steps in the get started. So you would just go through each of these steps, read it, then there's usually a continue button at the end or a completed button. Here's the first quarter. It's again, here's tier 1. You go to Travel Leaders Network, to that training section that I mentioned. You go to the magnifying glass. The magnifying glass, it's right here on this image. It's the one I showed you to do searches, and just type in this information: tier 1 - novice, newer to the industry leisure learning path. You're going to enroll in it, and then that's going to give you access to the ability to start it, and then it's going to give you the breakdown of the 48 different classes, and you're going to enroll in all of those. And it seems really daunting, but like I said, not all of the classes are really long. I think the longest class is an hour, I think, is the longest video. Once you get through that, you would complete that, and then you would go to ALG, do their ALGV Pro, and then you want to do this calendar down here. This list of their classes is not completely accurate because there were cancellations and reschedules. So if when you go to the point of doing watching the webinars, of course, you're going to be watching the replays. So at that point, you're just going to go.
Yeah, I've been watching them based off of the calendar. I've been hitting the replay button on the calendar. Okay.
Yes,
I'll never catch up with you guys.
I was going to say.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is go to the calendar, go back to January, and in order to let corporate know that you've watched the replays and stuff, just keep a spreadsheet or a notepad or something that you can take a picture of and send it to them. It's like I did when I did mine. I also watched the replays, even though I completed it in first quarter. I still did all the replays just because I was either doing other trainings or working and that sort of thing. So I just put like January 7th, ALG, who the trainer was, and if there was a corporate trainer, I just jotted down their name and then the date that I actually watched the video. And then when I was done, I just sent them. I just did all three months in the quarter, one list, and then I just shot it all over to corporate to let them know that here's my list of all the supplier webinars.
Okay.
And then if you haven't seen the calendar, you just click through this way. You betcha. And so, yeah, just kind of work your way through it. It's a lot. You're going to go through each supplier, their certifications, any webinars that they had, which again, look to the calendar, not this list. And then there's a quarterly challenge. And don't be intimidated by this list of 7 things. You don't have to do all 7. As it states up here, in order to complete this quarter, you must have at least 2 of the items finished below. Now, that doesn't mean book 2 Princess Cruises, that completes your 2. That's number 1. So if you book 2 Princess Cruises, that completes one of the 2 items. Then you need to pick one of the other ones, either attend an in-person regional meeting, such as the in-person that they're getting ready to do.
Charlotte.
In Charlotte. Yes, thank you. I was thinking, is it North Carolina, South Carolina? Which city was that in? Just drawing a total blank. So if you're in that area, attend that. That counts as the live regional meeting. And so if you book 2 Princess Cruises and attend the live regional meeting, that's your 2. And then you just go into the first quarter completion, fill in your information, and hit submit and it gets completed. And then you move on to Q2. Yay.
It'll happen. Jill,
It'll
thank you
happen.
so much for this. I actually, it's my husband's birthday. We just got to the restaurant, so I need to drop, but for our reservation.
Yes.
But I wanted to hop on. Thank you so much for scheduling these. I can't tell you how useful they are.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I know that the other trainers are happy to do it as well, because we do rotate through. So if you ever have other questions, join one of the other ones. You might get Cindy or Justin or Nancy or Nicole or Tina. You know, I think we have 11 trainers. So it's nice that if you join a different one, you might get a different trainer and a different perspective and a different set of skill set and history, because like I said, my niche is cruising, but others are kind of more rounded and in that respect. So Susan, have a wonderful night. Happy birthday to your husband.
Thank you.
Joining us.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting everybody. Bye-bye.
You too. All right. And I see no other new questions in the chat. So who else has questions for us? Anybody?
I have a question going back to the travel leaders.
Yes.
And going to Snap and the cruise complete. What was, is that what it was? And you said you can book right there on the sites?
Yes. Yes, those are a booking engine. So once you get into the agent access part of it and go into it, that is the booking engine.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Thanks.
Yeah. All right.
Do you have to do the training on all those before you know on like, so that what we were talking about for Snap?
Oh, on Snap.
All that you could just go into it and do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
If you just want to go in and figure it out, absolutely you can do that. Okay. I was just mentioning that there's really good training, because some people prefer to do the training before they dive into a new program. And if you're working through it and you get stuck, you can always pop into the video and take a look and see where you've gotten stuck at.
Yeah. Okay. No, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. What else? We've still got 23 minutes. Not that we have to stay on that long, but if you've got questions, we've got 23 more minutes that we can spend answering them. Anybody? I'm getting crickets.
Okay, if nobody's going to jump in, will you go back into Snap? I am like trying to figure it out. And I'm like, my brain's not functioning very fast. So I'm in there, but I don't see where I did all the stuff where you said to go, but then now I'm like just stuck on something.
I'm just going to go pop over straight to Agent Universe. And log on. Okay, and so you came into Snap from over here?
Okay, no, when I signed in, it did not do that. So let me try.
Did you go, okay, wait, let me go back. Because you might still be on the training site. So if you went through Agent Profiler, that's going to take you to your Agent Profiler profile, of course.
Okay, yep. So my profile is up. So when I log into it,
so that's your profile.
Okay.
Okay. So then you're going to pop over to training. If you're going to go through Profiler, you got to pop over to training.
Okay.
And I know it's kind of a long way around. Like I said, once you get into Agent Universe, you can actually just bookmark this and go straight to log into Agent Universe instead of going the long way around. And so from this one, this is where you can do your training. So this down here is training. This is training because you're actually on Travel Leaders. So if you want to do the booking, you have to click here on Agent Universe.
Okay.
Yep. And then that's going to pop up that same logon screen like you had for Agent Profiler, but it's going to say Agent Universe. And like I said, it's the exact same logon.
Okay.
And then once you get logged in there, it should look like this.
Then it should look like that. Okay, travel.
And as I'm sure you saw, I always have it saved mine. I have them documented elsewhere too, because we have so many different ones.
Oh my, everything's updated and I have it. And but then it just said you have to switch it. And I thought it updated it. And it's like, no, we didn't update it. I'm like,
Oh,
"Ah."
no.
Okay, so okay, and then there's the quick links. Okay, I'll bookmark this then. Okay, now I'm on the straight and narrow.
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing again. And so, Rebecca, if you're unable to finish the quarterly in the first quarter, just keep going. Just keep working on first quarter until you get done. And then you can move on to the next one. Because the ultimate, if you finish within 1 year, it ends and you complete the certification when you attend convention in November. And a lot of people are they totally get it. They're just starting in March and April, and they're like, oh, how in the world am I going to finish this all by November? Or they can't make it to Wave Makers to actually complete that certification. And it just carries over to next year. All right. Any other questions? Oh, Jenny, on Wave Makers, do the bookings have to actually be? Oh no, they have to be real bookings. Yes, the bookings need to actually be real bookings. I'm sure that they will be checking those. And the bookings actually benefit you. I mean, by getting the bookings and doing the bookings, it's boosting your business. All right. What else you got for me? Anything? Have a quiet group today.
So just
I was gonna say Amanda's going, I got another one. I got another one.
so
See
I know, right? So I did go in there, and when I do tap on Snap, I think you have to go through all their training stuff. They don't let you just go right into it. Just a heads up for anybody else that's new on there.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't.
Yeah, it just because it says it's time for you. Isn't it time you profited from air? And then you go down and then it shows me a bunch of stuff. It doesn't let me just start booking.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, that's good information to know. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I learned something new today. Thanks,
I
Amanda.
know what I'm doing tonight.
Okay, well, that is very good to know. All right. So who else? Anybody? Amanda doesn't mind sharing. I'm sure she doesn't.
I do have a question.
Okay.
On the going back when you were talking about doing the replays and everything for Wave Makers,
Yes.
are the ones like the go away, is it the same thing each time, each month, or they're all
No,
different?
usually it's a progressive. They'll have them do like 3 or 4 in a month. ALG had, I don't remember exactly how many ALG had. And in case you're wondering who ALG is, that's Vax. The Vax
Yeah.
Vacation. This is ALG. Vax
I
had,
see theirs is progressing, but on
yeah,
some of them I see the 1s or the 2 and all that on it.
no, they don't tend to put the 1s and the 2s on them, but I believe that they were all supposed to be progressive because I know we just did Room Res. I hosted that one the other night, and I know that was part 3 of 3. And so sometimes they just cover different topics. So sometimes it's not even necessarily a progression so much as it is just a shift of topics. But yes, they should all be different.
Okay, so like the Expedia Tap tonight, it'll be different in 2 weeks when they do that one?
That's my understanding, yes, is it should be something different.
Okay, that's what I wanted to find out. And the
All
cruise line, the cruise line was MSC, NCL, and all that. Are those progressive also?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Honestly, it's been a little while since I watched the replays.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I think I've done all the ALG ones.
Yeah.
Like ALG Pro, but I wanted to go back and start all over on the calendar since you mentioned it that way.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, my understanding is that there's supposed to be kind of a progression, like a series of classes of trainings.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, Karen. Thank you. Okay. Any new questions? No new questions. Okay. Who else has questions? Nobody? Wow. All right. That's okay. And it's still okay if you don't want to unmic. You can always put your question in chat. I don't like to put people too much on the spot. That's why we have that option, either unmute or throw it in the chat. And because I know sometimes putting it out there and unmuting is uncomfortable for some, which is fine. Took me a while to get used to having my little face right there. I used to tell people I don't like doing public speaking, and here I am doing trainings. Still no questions? All right. Amanda, what you got for me?
Well, there was
I keep looking and I'm not seeing any new questions. I keep waiting. If one pops up, I'll shout it out right away. I'll raise my hand.
Perfect. Oh, I know I had one and my brain's on like overload now.
I look at it as even if there's only one person asking questions, we're here for questions and we've got an hour on the books for it. So
might as well do it.
absolutely.
So that other one that I had that wanted to come up to Glacier, they wanted to book, they wanted to take a train back or whatever. So I did register with that, but have you ever booked the train stuff? Is that one pretty easy?
Which train are you looking at? Like Amtrak?
It was under the let me go back to the suppliers.
I know we've got rail makers.
Yeah, rail. I registered for Rail Bookers / Amtrak and then Brightline, which I don't know. So I'm guessing because I'm pretty sure it's Amtrak that comes through Whitefish up here and goes to Chicago.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have not. I've looked at a couple train segments for possibly a trip of my own, but I haven't gotten to the point of actually booking one yet.
Okay, I didn't
So
know.
that's not helpful. But if you have questions on doing it, I would think there's probably a customer service number you could call and ask for some assistance.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured too. I just thought if you happen to know.
Yeah.
And then do you ever use any of like the golden ticket stuff? Have you ever used any of that for, I know you say cruises. I have no interest in doing cruises. They just now I don't want to go on one, so I don't want to sell one.
And that's okay. And that's the thing is that's the nice thing about travel is you can either do it all or you can do this much, and that's fine because that's what it means to run your own business is you get to choose what you want to work on and what types of clients you want to work with and cruising just kind of became my thing because it was the travel I had done the most, so it was just kind of what flowed naturally. I'm actually 8 years. I'm 8 years into it, and I'm
missing out.
on cruising.
She is missing out. That is the best vacation you will ever take.
I know I've heard that, but it's like I see a boat and I'm like, I like being on ground.
See, and
maybe someday.
And I used to have a lot of coworkers who said, I don't understand what you like so much about cruising. I said, I love the fact that I can get on board, unpack my suitcases once, and wake up in a different destination almost every single day, depending on how port intensive. Oh, I got a heart from Karen. I think that's my first training heart.
Well, that's what got me into being a travel agent.
Yeah, it's just you get
cruising.
it's just you
all my friends, so might as well get a commission off of it now.
Exactly. And I just love because I like going to Europe and the Mediterranean. So I really like, I'm not a sea day person. It's like I can do sea days, but don't give me too many of them or I'm gonna get bored. You'll see Jill pacing the deck, going, okay, now what? Now what? When can
I love my
when can I
sea
get
day.
off? There's more for me to see. See, and there are some people that are absolutely like that. They will take the big long ones or transatlantics where there's lots of sea days because they love just chilling with a
I'm
beverage or a
saving up for
book.
my
And
transatlantic right now, so I've never been.
transatlantics, they're really not bad. I've done a couple of them and it's not too bad. It's just I'm one of those people, I travel because I want to see new places. And so I'm okay with port intensive, and that's where Europe and the Mediterranean are just spot on for me because I've done 10-day cruises that had, 8 port stops, and I was okay with that. It was, and it's exhausting. Don't get me wrong. By the time I get home, I hit that plane coming home, and it's like, okay, I'm out. I'm done. Uh, but it's, everybody there does their own. So I do have a question now from Danae in the chat. So and Rebecca has another question. So let me pop on back to the questions since we've got about 9 minutes left. Thank you for having questions, you guys. So Danae says, my question is regarding the agent profiler travel leaders network setup. When creating my profile, am I using my personal info or using Cornerstone's address, phone, and email? So anytime it says agent, you're going to put your stuff. And if it says agency, you're going to put Cornerstone's information. And you are going to list yourself as a travel agent. And then Rebecca says, I hope does that answer your question, Janae? So Rebecca, you said you had a question. Let's go ahead and get that. And then I've got
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
My niche is special needs families.
Okay.
Is there any way that I can, besides calling and emailing with the top people, is there any place that I can select special needs and it will give me listings, or do I need to go and do my own investigation?
Are you looking at cruises, or what type of travel are you looking at? Just all kinds?
All kinds.
Yeah, I know, because I know that like for cruise lines, you can select, like accessible cabins, or if they need other types of assistance, like for deaf people, there's usually a special needs form that you can fill out for what other type of assistance they may need on board. For other types of cruising, I'm not 100% sure. You may need to speak to the suppliers directly.
That's cool.
Yeah, I wish that I think it's Suzanne was on here because I believe that she also does like accessible travel. So she might have had an answer for that, but she is not on with us tonight. So, but yeah, that would be my thing is if you can't find something direct on their website, is maybe give them a call and ask them if they can direct you to information about booking for special needs.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and Lynn, yes, Lynn, the supplier that does multiple cruises, that's Cruise Complete through Travel Leaders Network. All right. Okay, I think that's catches me back up on the chat. Oh, that's a good point too, Amanda. Amanda posted that maybe you could reach out with that question on the Facebook group also.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you're welcome, Lynn. Okay, so who else? Any other questions? We've got about 6 more minutes if there's more questions. Anybody?
Okay, I'm gonna ask. I was looking, and I know you can include, like, when you're doing the trips, you can include the insurance on the bookings and stuff. but I know we registered with Chubb and Alliance. Do you is it cheaper to go through them or just add it into the whole thing? Or is it by booking preference?
You can always compare because it may vary. So just like looking at hotels, you can't always you can't go with one supplier and assume that just because they were cheaper once, they're going to be cheaper every time. Sometimes it's cheaper, depends on the trip. Plus, it also can depend too with insurance if are you really getting everything booked through the one supplier, or are you going to have to go somewhere else to get another piece of it? Because if so, then you might want to look at doing an Alliance or a Chubb policy, just because if you get insurance on this part of the trip and then you've got something else over here on the trip, you either need to do another insurance through that supplier or leave the insurance off of both of those and just quote the whole price under Chubb or Alliance.
Okay, and then I'm assuming that would just be a separate charge or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
because I was with Archer before and then I switched over to Cornerstone and they would do like their own booking stuff. So they would have their own fees to make something off of stuff that they would charge and put like that it was non-refundable and stuff like that. Are people in here doing that, or is it like do you
I think most of the people I've talked to are not,
Okay.
but that's something that you could look at doing if you wanted to. But yeah, you'd have to come up with like a terms agreement as to what it is, what it's for, what the terms of it are, and to specify if it's refundable or not.
Okay.
That sort of thing. And then I do have somebody with another question. So, all right, Karen, you've got another question?
I'll make it quick. It just hit me. Is there an easy way to stay organized? Like a program or papers you can print out to stay organized that's already done so I don't have to reinvent the wheel?
Oh man, that is such a huge question. And I don't think there's an easy answer for that because everybody organizes themselves differently.
Well, I'm not
And
organized at all, so I'm a
yeah,
chaotic organized.
yeah, I know everybody organizes themselves differently. I use Google Sheets and Google Docs for a lot of my stuff. I've created my own what works for me type of documents. Yeah, I wish there was an easy answer for that.
Okay. I was just wondering because I've got like 3 notebooks going and it's driving me crazy. And I got a calendar going. It's driving me crazy. And I want something that's
So for the calendar, let me ask you, what type of information are you keeping in for it? And we are running low on time. I got just a couple minutes left.
sorry.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure I get your question answered in somewhat of a sufficient way. So what type of information are you putting in your calendar?
Like the date they book, the date their deposits are their final payments due, just to touch base with them, like follow up and things like that, to see if they want to add, excursions and stuff before the cruise, things like that.
Have you looked at the tasks in Test?
No.
Okay, so if you open up a booking, it's not that one, I want this one. Let me find one of mine.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. So what I typically do, I don't have any tasks on that one. That's not going to be helpful. I don't know nope, I didn't set them up on that one yet either. That's not helping. Let me just do this one because I'm sure there's chats on here. So you can see over here on the trip, you can see there's trip booking details, communication documents, notes, tasks. This one right here. I utilize this because I ended up buying a 5-year flip calendar because I was tracking a lot of the dates and stuff in there because my last agency, I won't mention their name unlike Amanda. I came from the same place that she did. They didn't offer a CRM. We didn't have this. We didn't have anything like this. And so I used a flip calendar. 5-year flip calendar. Every time I did a booking, I'm like, okay, I need to go in here and I need to put this date. I need to remind this person for this booking that air is available. I need to remind them here to do their excursions, then flip over. So I'd have to go through and hunt and peck. And some days, as I'm sure you know, get extremely full and just cram packed with information. So this is the way I do it, because having tests, this is the one that's included in our monthly service. I do not have any add-ons. I don't pay for the upgrade. I come in here and I add tasks. When flights are available, send them a final payment reminder, a reminder even after that payment is due. I do a courtesy and I print documents for my clients. That's just me. I don't mind the expense. Some people don't want to do that because it's an added expense for a printer, for toner, for envelopes, for postage. For me, that's just, I had a travel agent once upon a time who sent me a packet with my luggage tag and stuff, and I was like, "Ooh, that's so neat." And so that's something that so that's something that I opted to do. It's like, to me, the expense is a write-off. You know, it comes off in my taxes. And so I don't mind doing that because I know that people appreciate it. So I put that in here. When I add gifts to the booking, I actually, excuse the typo. You can tell I typed these up really fast. I send a bon voyage email wishing them, bon voyage, have a great trip. I also send them a welcome home email, and that says, welcome home. I hope you had a great trip. Please tell me how it went. Was there anything that we could improve on for next time? Or tell me something, that just really, made your trip spectacular. And then I also include a link to leave a review. A lot of them totally miss that, but that's okay. But then there's a follow-up, because I think follow-ups are so critical in this business, because if you don't send them a follow-up, if there was something that they kind of we're on a cruise or a trip and they go, gosh, I really wish I had known about this, or I wish my travel agent had done this for me. We don't know that information if we don't continue that line of communication with them. And so so those are things that I do, but you can add, and I'm going to just drop this over so that I can show you. You add tasks just like you do. Everything is over here in the add up in this upper right-hand corner. You give it a subject, you give it a date, and then you give it a how soon do you want to be reminded? So let me just go out a couple months. I'll go to November 15th. Do I want to be reminded? No reminder, the date due, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You can go as far as 30 days out, depending on what it is and when you want to be reminded. And then you can put a description if it helps you remember what exactly it was you wanted to do. And then the task type is general or payment due. And then you leave it as active, hit save. And then what I really like about this is that when you're just on the dashboard, those ones that are coming due are going to be right here in my task due. You can see I've got some coming up in 3 days, 24 days. And when you go in and do it, you don't even have to open it. Once you complete it, you can just click this box right here and it completes it for you. So you don't have to necessarily open it up. The only time I open it up is if there's a piece of information I need, like the booking number, to help me look up the information. Then I can click on that and it's going to take me right into their booking. And I can go, here's their information, here's their booking. So I'm right back into where I need to be. And then I can still come over here and tasks and check this box here to complete it.
I like that.
And so,
okay, thanks for showing that.
So that's one way to help organize, because flip calendars can be such a pain. And I do a spreadsheet that you probably, and I know that we're now over time, but I do.
I'm sorry.
Let me just go. No, that's okay. No, sometimes we do go a couple of minutes over. I'll go ahead and show you the spreadsheet that I do for keeping track of. I got to get into the other log on though. I have too many accounts. This one's in here. So I like to track my bookings. I call it booking commission tracking. And I did this because the last agency we had didn't have a CRM. So when you had a booking, you had to go to their little website and enter the information. But I needed a way to track. When was my commission paid? How much did I get paid? Because knowing that, and I still utilize that piece of that information for Cornerstone, because then I can look at the spreadsheet, see the dates of the trip, and know when 90 days has passed. And if there's not commission in there, I can pop back into test and look. And I don't know why that Oh, there, because I'm on the wrong date. So you can see it's, so this is how I do it. I put in the date it was booked,
Okay.
the itinerary confirmation, I do an abbreviation, kind of like you would in the description tab. I do, typically it's the first or last name, depending on how friendly I am with the client, who or what it was, and the dates. So you can see for a cruise, it's going to be the date of the cruise. So it's like, here's client, ship, dates. I jot down when it's paid in full or if it was canceled. I put total commission amounts. And you can see these lines here were for the old agency so that I could remember what exactly I plugged in for the information required there. Date it was paid and the amount that was paid. And then I make notes for my taxes. This was a 2025 booking, but it was paid in 2024. So when I'm going through to try to reconcile my taxes, I can also use that same form to help me know, because then I know, don't include this amount in the 2025 because it was paid in 2024. And so that means it was on my taxes for 2024. So that's kind of how I do my organization. And I know I see doing an extra spreadsheet seems silly, but for me, it just kind of gives me that extra tracking. And a couple of those lines you may have seen at the top were in red because it said commission track, where's my commission submitted on? Because I have a couple of commissions that are overdue. They're over the 90 days. And so I did do the commission track. So I put that in a glowing red so that it reminds me to keep checking on it. And all right, Bridget, if you've already logged off, Bridget, thanks for coming. Sorry I missed you. In case you watched the replay, if anybody is getting ready to bounce, thanks so much for coming. And so, Karen, I hope that helps at least a little bit.
It did. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Like I said, everybody kind of has to come up with their own form of organization, but those are a couple of the ways that I do mine.
Okay. Well, I'm still new, so I'm sure I'll figure out something along the way that works.
Yeah. All right. Well, so it's now 6:37 Central Time. 6:37? Yeah, 6:37 Central Time. So I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody thank you again so much for coming tonight. I hope we answered some of your questions, even if you were kind of sitting back, just taking it all in. I hope if you had questions that maybe we got a couple of them answered at least during the process. If not, don't hesitate to use the Cornerstone Travel Facebook page or Agent Lounge to ask questions or come back and join us again. If you have booking specific questions, don't forget we do booking Q&A Thursday nights. There are typically 2 group Q&A sessions on Tuesday, which are both these open forums. And if you have specific questions, if you're interested in Princess booking, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central, I will be doing a create and manage Princess booking and kind of familiarize you with fare comparisons and cabin categories, how to read that information, as well as looking at groups also. So if that's something that is of interest, feel free to join me tomorrow. Otherwise, I will likely see you on another Q&A sometime soon. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.